This episode is brought to you by Red Riding Hood, the manga-inspired take on the classic fairy tale for readers grades K through 2, written by Christina Oxtra. In Red Riding Hood, readers review the classic story in a brand new way, with twists in the story, more diverse characters, and featuring Japanese aesthetics incorporated throughout. Red Riding Hood is part of a series published by Capstone and written by various artists with unique takes on your childhood favorites. Look out for Red Riding Hood, available on Amazon and your local bookstores. Congratulations, Christine, on your first published book. The link is in the show description. Hello everybody, welcome to Nintendo Pow Block, episode 213. I'm one of your hosts, Corey Deering, and alongside me as always is that Retro Code Eddie V.
I have old age of calamity. Hello everybody.
You are old.
That is true.
I'm just kidding.
But I'm 40 years old.
I know. We do not have our Hylian Heroine tonight. Celeste is off tonight. She's hanging out with some people, so hope she's having a good time. But Ed, we do have two guests tonight,
Ed.
Both of which have been on at least one of our things here.
Yes.
First, we have returning to Nintendo Pow Block, Daniel Murphy. How are you, sir?
Hey guys, thanks for having me again.
Yeah, of course. You were on our very interesting indie episode. Right, Ed?
Yeah, that was great, and I ended up buying a few indie games the second I got off that podcast, so Nintendo should send you guys a little bonus.
That would be nice, you know. Doug Bowser, if you're listening, I know you are. We're besties, right? We hang out on the weekends. You know, we just kind of play some Mario Kart, hang out, you know, rub some elbows. So.
What character does he use, Bowser?
Yeah.
See that punny?
No, actually, okay. He uses Gold Peach. Rose Gold Peach.
Wow.
Someone has to.
Also, first time on this show, David Lasby is here. Good to see you, sir.
Yes. Thank you. It's awesome to be here. I appreciate it.
Yeah. You and Celeste had a 1v1 about your work. So why don't you tell everybody what you do outside of, being here, hanging out with us?
Yeah, awesome. I write over at Zelda Dungeon and Zelda Informer, and mostly write articles looking at video games as an art form and kind of doing some literary analysis of story arcs for characters on Zelda games. So
nice. That's a good series to do that on. I don't know if anybody notices, but it's one of my favorite series. So Zelda Dungeon. Zelda Dungeon was a frequent stop of mine for a long time. So, yeah, I'm glad you guys are here, filling out the roster of our new look live show. If anybody's watching live, we have a new look. We started last night with Arsenal X, and now we're into Nintendo Pow Block with this look. I hope everybody likes it. If not, too bad. We're keeping it. I'm tired of doing
You're keeping it for the next 4 months, and then you'll redo it.
You know, Ed, that's fair. I was gonna try to say something snarky, but every time I do that, 4 months later, I'm making something new, and I'm just like, I gotta do it. And yeah. So also, by the way, Daniel's gonna be hanging out with us on in Nintendo Pow Block. He's in our group chat. We're talking about writing stuff and all that kind of stuff. So it's all very exciting. Yay. So good stuff. Good stuff. So how's everybody doing? Everybody have a good weekend? Apparently Ed's the only one who had a good Monday, so
You guys had a good weekend. I had a good Monday, I should say. Been doing good. I haven't started my 3D Mario All-Star collection just yet because I've been wanting to see everybody's reaction.
You're busy finishing Breath of the Wild, aren't you?
Yes, I am. But I'm excited. I really am excited that people, without all the controversy and feelings that people have about the collection, it's really good to see people loving on Mario Sunshine. and getting that fresh chance to play. And I think that's one of the great things that I love with Nintendo, with when people who miss products or miss games and they go back and get a chance to play them, they can see why we love it, why that game has that magic, or why it was kind of revolutionary for the gaming industry. And like a lot of people miss Mario Sunshine, but them playing it, they're getting understanding why it's a game that's gonna teach you on how to learn how to platform. Yes, you have your Jackson Dexters. Yes, you have your Ratchet and Clanks and Crash Bandicoot. But Sunshine will be like, you need to make the exact jump. You need to see this level design. When we take this handicap away from you, and you got to literally play like a regular Mario game, get ready to get tested. And it's good to see it. And I've seen some bugs, so hopefully Nintendo patch it. But it's just really good to see people loving on that. And I also sent to another Zelda podcast. I put in, there's a game called Legend of Princess, and it's like a 2D kind of Legend of Zelda PC game. So it's good to see them. Hopefully they tried it, and I want to hear their thoughts on it. But yeah, other than that, that's what I've been having with on my weekend, seeing you guys play stuff. So
yeah. Daniel, you said you had a fun weekend with your friends that you haven't seen in a while. That was...
Yeah, I mean, nothing really gaming related. It was just a good weekend. Hung out in New Hampshire, right on Lake Winnipesaukee. So just hung out in nature for the weekend, and here I am back to reality.
Yeah, isn't that always a good time?
It's a little bit of a shock, but it's what I live most of my life in, so I shouldn't be too shocked.
Yeah, it's fair. David, how was your weekend?
Weekend was awesome. Playing lots of Mario 64 and feeling like I'm 12 again. So it's definitely a nostalgia journey for me, and just appreciating that game. I don't even know how many years it's been since I played it, and it holds up really well.
Yeah, great. I was kind of surprised because I've been playing Mario 64 also, and it's like, aside from getting used to the camera, because that right stick in every single game since then is just like, you just swing the camera around and it works fine. And this is just like that quarter turn of the camera. It's like, besides trying to get used to that, because I've been jumping between that and every other game in the world with the camera. Mm-hmm. Besides that, I'm kind of surprised at how good it still feels. It's dated, right? Like, there's a few things that are like, but then you get that, like, all those coins, or like throwing King Babam off the top of the mountain and realizing that you can't do that, and he just hops right back up on top of it, and you actually just have to throw him 3 times, is like, it's still like, oh yeah, I forgot. This is like, there's actually strategy in this first boss fight, and it teaches, like, you didn't realize it at the time, but that actually teaches you how to fight Bowser. You have to run behind Bowser and catch him by the tail, and it's just, I forget how much Super Mario 64 meant to me when I was 1996, 10, 11, somewhere around there.
16.
Oh, well, see, I said you're old, so and Mario, like, I remember playing games on, like, the Atari and NES, right? But, like, Mario 64 was the game that just kind of cemented, like, okay, this is what I will be doing this for a very long time, playing games, and it still feels good. And, like, I popped in Odyssey, I popped in Galaxy and Sunshine, and those games look great. And, like, people who are saying that they didn't do anything to them, I feel like that those games look different and better than, like, they just made the textures 1080p, yeah, but, like, I don't think it was as lazy as people are, quote unquote lazy as people are saying. Like, it's just up-res textures, and they want you to play the games how you remember them, and that's, I don't know, it's fine with me. Yeah, would I have liked a Odyssey Mario 64 rendition? Yeah, of course I would have, but I mean, I like this version too,
They weren't gonna ever do that, though.
No.
So like, I don't understand why people were expecting this. And on top of that, when you're doing Odyssey style graphics and surroundings, you're building a new game. So why not just make a new Mario game?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Versus like you're building Mario 64 from scratch. I don't know. The ports to me, they hold up very well. I haven't played Sunshine yet, but I have played Galaxy and I have played 64. And like you guys, 64 is just like it's a kick in the face of nostalgia, and it's so enjoyable.
Yeah.
Even the jankiest parts, you're just kind of like, ooh, I actually know how to get through this. And like,
yeah, and like backflipping through the paintings is still one of the most satisfying things. Even though it's like,
I have done that every single time.
Yeah, yeah. I refuse to jump like a normal person through the painting. You just have to backflip.
I think that's why the N64 controller just brings memories when it comes to Mario 64, because it's just like when you control them with that analog stick, you didn't know that game was going to change just from that one little controller.
Right.
Yeah, it's.
I would say that. I mean, I think there is some basis for the criticism that they could have fixed the camera, because I don't know that it would have been that much work for them to do, and the benefit would have been massive. But having said that, I'm a big fan of playing games the way they were intended and the way they were originally, and so it doesn't bother me at all.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, like they even put the button prompts in Mario 64 of like, oh, you are using a Switch controller, not an N64 controller. Like, what harm could how much would it have broken that game if you just went in and adjusted the camera settings? But it's just a minor gripe. I'm one of those people who, like, a lot of people are also are mad because like Mario 64 isn't the DS version, it's the Nintendo 64 version. I'm like, I didn't like the DS version. I hated the DS version, to be honest with you. I'm like, I want my analog sticks. I want my Mario 64 how I remembered it, and that's what they gave me. And for better or for worse, that's what I got. And to be honest with you, I'm fine with it. So.
Nice. What did you hate about the DS one? I never played it.
It's just like the DS didn't have a thumbstick, and you had to use the touchscreen to move the characters.
Oh, weird.
Yeah, they actually gave you like this weird little thumb stylus that you could use to move the character around. It was just... It's not that it was a bad game, because there's actually 30 extra stars that you can get in that game. And you can play as Yoshi and Luigi and Wario, right? It's just the way the game controlled. And if a game doesn't control how you want it to control, I'm just like, I'm done. Moving along. Moving on.
Right. Right.
And I just think the 64 version is just the way to play it. So...
Is there any chance that becomes an unlockable feature? I haven't gotten all 120 stars yet, but... I don't know. My theory was that, and nobody's said it yet, so I'm guessing it didn't happen, but I'm like, if you beat Super Mario Galaxy, it unlocks Galaxy 2. Like a Star Fox 2 situation on this SNES Classic, but it didn't happen.
Don't hold your breath on that one.
Nope, I'll wait for the Galaxy 2-pack that'll probably come out next year as a separate cartridge. And play it then, I guess.
Galaxy is really fun on this. I didn't really like it on the Pro controller because, getting the star bits was kind of annoying for me. Yeah, me personally, I play with the Joy-Cons. It feels amazing. I'm a big fan of it, and it just it plays just like the old Wii version. Putting the stick towards the screen and everything. But man, that game is a blast. I loved that game.
I had to beat that game for a book club, and I was just like, oh my goodness, this ice level. It's like, oh, okay, I got to take my time with this. But I kind of like the toy level that they had in it. There's something about Mario games that I still could play them to the fullest, and I feel like my skill keeps getting better and better every time I play them.
Oh yeah,
Because man, when Super Mario 3D World comes out, y'all not. I'm literally just might take the weekend off. Just be like, look, I got enough vacation time.
Mario 3D World is the best 3D Mario game, and I will fight anybody who tries to tell me anything different.
I haven't played it yet.
Oh my gosh, it's so good. It's
so good. Yes.
I skipped the Wii U, so I missed it.
Oh man, we aren't friends now.
It's all getting ported over. I made the right choice.
That's fair. Let's see. We need what? Wind Waker, Twilight Princess, and Xenoblade Chronicles X, and we'll be. I can just put my Wii U away. So.
And the Black Maiden one.
Yeah, nobody cares about. Nobody cares about. Nobody cares about Fatal Frame anymore. Although I bet it would do gangbusters on Switch because everything seems to sell on Switch, including, the unreleased, unannounced Super Mario Sluggers that Ed swears is going to sell Switches.
Everybody, please go listen to that Boss Rush episode. You will get your life.
To be fair, there were positive comments on your tweet out that day.
I feel like you had more people defending you than not in that.
Yes. Also, I do have to give it to Ed too. I've said it 100 times. I said he was crazy that they would announce Hyrule Warriors 2, and guess what's coming out in November? So
there you go.
What I'm ready now for is Arms 2.
I hate you. If Arms 2 comes out, Ed, I'm quitting this show forever.
I thought Arms 2 was going to happen with Min Min.
Yeah.
Coming to Smash.
I think that franchise is bigger than people think it is, and nobody knows that it's as big as it is. It's one of those quietly big franchises for Nintendo. The way that Splatoon is very loud and everybody's like, there's 10 billion people who play Splatoon every day. It's like, oh, well, ARMS, I guess there's a community because they're still doing these online tournaments and championships and stuff. And like, oh, okay, well.
And it's, as a new IP, it's so as well as Splatoon did. Splatoon as a new IP did like 1 million. And ARMS did 1 million and then some. So I'm like, why not do a part 2 to that game?
Yeah.
Nintendo's also pretty loyal to their IPs. They tend to, I mean, except for Metroid apparently, but they do tend to give a lot of follow-ups, so it would seem to be in the Nintendo way.
Yeah.
Well, we don't know what we do. We literally don't know what Metroid Prime 4 is now because of all the talent that they got.
Yeah, man. We could spend 3 episodes on what Metroid Prime 4 could be.
Well, they did just hire somebody from Call of Duty.
Yeah, they've hired people from Battlefield, Halo. Every episode, I think at least twice a month, Ed and I have a story in this show that says, "Oh, Retro hired blah 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 from blah blah blah," and now it's gone from like this first person, adventure game to like a Halo super set piece. Let's blow everything up with maybe some puzzles. They hired people. They hired people from Crystal Dynamics. They hired people from DICE. They've hired people from all these other places, and it's just like, oh my gosh, what is this game now?
And I literally keep. I'll wake up, look at Nintendo Life, and I'll be like, oh, update on Metroid. They hire who?
Yeah.
At 8:00 in the morning, I'm like, Corey, here's the story. Read this.
By the way, to date, ARMS has sold 3.3 million units, which is not bad, I guess, for a new IP.
Good.
Yeah.
Hey, I bought ARMS. I loved ARMS when it came out. I'm surprised at how well it's selling. So, I'm just gonna throw that out there. Speaking of new games, we have a few topics this week. We're skipping housekeeping because if you look, this show is 213 episodes in. If you are just now finding us, welcome. But where have you been? Our topics of the show, obviously, the September direct partner showcase happened, which was pretty legitimate after that kind of sad one the last time the last one they had. So we had that, and we are going to talk about Nintendo's lineup for the next 6 months, which is... I was expecting to have a list of like 25 to 30 games. There's probably at least 60 on this list, so I'm just going to put it out there. So the partner showcase happened last week, the Thursday after we posted the episode on podcast services?
Yes.
Kicked it off with 2 Monster Hunter games. Pretty big deal. Monster Hunter's been rumored to be coming to Switch for a long time, but Monster Hunter Rise looks really... It looks like Monster Hunter World with a twist, and I like that. I've not really been a Monster Hunter guy, but I did like World a lot, and this looks like more of that on the Switch.
Digging into it, finding out that it's running on the RE engine that they customized for the Switch. So
Which is crazy, because that engine, they tried to port Resident Evil. They tried to port Resident Evil 7 to the Switch for like 6 months and couldn't get it running because of the RE engine. Mm-hmm. So the fact that they've gotten that engine running on Switch now is a pretty big deal, I think. So
yeah.
But what do you? I mean, did you guys watch the partner showcase at all? It was there was something there for everybody, I feel like, but I just wanted to make sure you guys watched it before I list all these games.
Oh yeah, I watched it.
Okay, I thought so.
I had to catch it afterwards, but
yeah,
I've been looking over that list, and it's an impressive list.
Yeah,
and some interesting ports too. So
yeah, for sure. Like they ended the show with Ori and the Will of the Wisps, which, by the way, Ed, we got a lot of crap for saying that game was coming to the Switch, and everybody's like, no. Microsoft said that they have no plans to. This is my anti-Nintendo Ed and Corey voice. We have no plans to bring Xbox games to the Switch because the Switch is blah blah blah, and we are Xbox. And I'm like, okay, here it is. 6 months later.
And like I said, we don't care about Microsoft's first-party games being on Switch. We care about all the indies that come on Microsoft that they could do. Mm-hmm. Who's been yelling for Gears of War to be on it? Now they put Gears Tactics on Switch. Well, that's you. But I'm like, we will play Gears Tactics on Switch. We will play Cuphead because it got to #1 on pre-orders.
I will play Gears any way I can get it, unless it's that stupid Funko Pop game.
Ooh.
That's still like one of the best moments on our live recordings. And then. Okay, so what was it when Gears 5 was being announced and they were announcing all these Gears things? Sorry, side tangent. We were waiting for Microsoft's big thing, and they showed the Gears logo on this brick wall, and I was like, yeah! And all of a sudden, a Funko Pop busts through, and I was like, no! As loud as I could.
We was doing the E3 we live, and we was laughing at because his Corey's anger just came out. We was just like, wait, what?
Well, man, Gears is my favorite Xbox first party game series, and anytime I get to play a new one, I get excited. But when you lead with a Funko Pop game, and it just made me really sad. That's all. I have a unnaturally heavy hatred for Funko Pops.
Man, I would love access to more Gears games. I went through, during the Wii U years, that was the time where I dove pretty deeply into Xbox titles, and Gears and Halo were, and their Star Wars titles were definitely my home for a while. So I would be thrilled, but I don't see Microsoft negotiating to share those.
No. I mean, they put titles where they make sense, I feel like. And I know that Moon Studios isn't owned by Microsoft, but they did pub fund this game. And, now that, look, Ori and the Blind Forest came to the Switch and Cuphead. Will the Wisp was a no-brainer, I feel like. So, I don't know. I know that game kind of struggled running on Xbox for a while, and that's why people were like, well, maybe it's not coming to Switch. But I'm like, it'll come. So that was
I'm still waiting for Wasteland 3 to come to Switch. Hopefully that happens.
I mean, Maybe. But what games were you guys excited for? I don't want to take up a lot all the time.
Go ahead, Dave.
Oh, I've never played Jurassic World Evolution, but I've always been fascinated by the Jurassic Park games. I remember going all the way back to when I was a kid, when the movies came out, and getting them on the Super Nintendo, the old school Jurassic Park games. And I know this was kind of like a business simulator, but now that it's coming to Switch and is available in my orbit, I'm really curious about it.
Yeah, I think it was free on Xbox a while ago, but there's something about having, like, because Roller Coaster Tycoon comes out this week on Switch, and I'm very excited for that as well. But there's something about just having a business tycoon style game in a handheld that you can just kind of sit there and micromanage everything, and that excites me. And this is made by the people who did Planet Coaster and Planet Zoo and Roller Coaster Tycoon 3, and I'm like, man, I have a lot of faith in this team that they can do something interesting on the Switch too. So, yeah. So,
can you pre-order not Planet Coaster, Roller Coaster Tycoon 3 on Switch?
Yes, you can, and yes, I did, because I know that was your next question.
Yes,
because Roller Coaster Tycoon Adventures was a trash fire.
We do not talk about that questionable content of a game.
That was the worst $50 I've ever spent in my life. Don't ever do that. I played some bad games, guys, but this one was bad.
All right.
Yeah.
I'll avoid it.
Yes. Do not buy Roller Coaster Tycoon Adventure on the Switch. I bit that bullet for everybody. So, Daniel, what were you?
A good one to buy is Hades. That was on that Direct. It dropped on Thursday. Excellent game.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so good. I've actually even played that a little bit over 3D All Stars. It's just been addicting as all hell. But on that Direct, Disgaea 6. That one, like, I love those games. If you haven't played them, they're like tactical RPGs, like a Fire Emblem, or for you Switch has Mario Rabbids Kingdom. So it's a tactical fighting RPG. Those games always got me hooked. Final Fantasy Tactics was like my favorite game for years. So I'm excited to see that come to Switch. And it was also very surprising because they've always been a PlayStation exclusive. So to see them jump over, I was kind of surprised to see that. So if you haven't tried those games before, they did I don't know if it's out now, but they're doing the 5th one for free on Switch. So you can kind of check it out and see if it's your style of game. But for me, that one was the biggest moment in that Direct. So
I think it's this week.
What?
I believe. I think they're doing the free trial this week for Disgaea.
Okay. Yeah. Check it out if you haven't played it before. It's a lot of fun.
Those games go on sale pretty regularly too. I think 4 and 5 are regularly under $30, like $25, and I think that those games are worth it. I played a lot of Disgaea 5 when it came to Switch, so. But back to Hades real quick. Is the roguelike elements kind of like? I'm not a huge roguelike guy, and by not a huge roguelike guy. The only one I think I've ever liked was Dead Cells. Is it like pretty roguelike-y, I guess is how you would say that? Is it like pretty attached to that roguelike element, or is it kind of just like, okay, you can progress, you're like some of your progression stays, some of it you just have to start over type thing?
No, I mean, most of your progression stays with you a little bit, and you kind of learn. You learn with your different weapons. I just try it.
Yeah.
It's like it's hard to explain because it's not like fully roguelike, but it has a lot of elements to it.
Yeah.
And I don't usually pick up those roguelike games very quickly, and this one just hooked me right away. It's a little more approachable, I guess.
Okay,
I think if you've been used to Transistor, one of their earlier games, they say it plays a little bit like that, but a little bit faster.
Yeah.
I mean, it is a fast game for sure.
Yeah, I mean, Hades looks awesome, and it's on sale. That like launch week, it's on sale. I think it's what, $20.
Yeah.
I've been hesitant to pull the trigger, and it looks so good. Like the colors and just the animation looks so good, and it's just every time I see the word roguelike, I'm like, ooh, man. And like, there's this one game that came out probably 6 months ago, Sparklight. And it's like, I was like, oh my gosh, this is a 16-bit Zelda-like RPG. I'm going to play it. This looks awesome. I get in there. I land on the whatever, and I die, and they make me start out. I'm like, oh no, is this a roguelike? And I look at the description, and it says, roguelite. I'm like, oh no. And I tried for like 2 hours to play that game. I'm like, oh no, I just wasted like $20.
And I have bought it just like Corey had recommended it to me. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna get it.
Man, I felt,
and it's a good game.
I felt real sad and just real let down. So,
I think I'm gonna pull the trigger tomorrow and get it. Get Hades, because everybody's been talking about it all weekend along with Mario.
Yeah,
and I can't wait to see what you think about it. Oh well, you're gonna love it, but I can't wait to hear you love it.
When I see Hades when the Epic Store was talking about getting Hades, and I seen it, I was just like, "What is this? Oh yeah, I'm gonna need this." But then everybody was just like, "I need this to come to Switch."
Yeah, I mean, you knew it was right. Like, I mean, every single indie game seems to come to Switch first now, unless it launches into Game Pass, it's coming to Switch first. You know what I mean? So. Speaking of strategy games, though, I think Empire Sin looks really cool too. That kind of 1940s gangster strategy RPG that they showed. Looks really cool too.
I don't remember that one.
It was the one that they showed from E3 of last year.
Yeah, they showed it last year at E3, and then it's finally coming out soon. It's John Romero's new game, kind of. It's really cool. It's like this top-down strategy RPG set in the 1940s, and you are part of the mafia, and you are just trying to, survive and get through it. So it's cool. It looks really cool. The music got me though too, because anything like that just kind of gets me.
I heard the roll on that Salvation. I was just like, I need the soundtrack.
Yeah. Ed, what were you excited for? Besides everything.
Besides everything. Definitely Monster Hunter Rise and I've been saying Monster Hunter Rising. Monster Hunter Rise and definitely Monster Hunter Stories 2. The animation of Stories 2, that trailer, I'm like, oh, I need this quickly. I already told everybody I pre-ordered the Will of the Wisps collection, $179. I literally had to have that. Sniper Elite was surprising to see on it, because I wasn't expecting that game to be on Switch, or anything. It was just like throwing their announcement. I'm just like, oh, that's cool.
I mean, for me, it wasn't that surprising because 2 and 3 are on Switch.
It was just weird to see it in a direct. I guess, to be like, this game, I'm kind of interested now that it's going to Switch, even though I know it's been out. But I think this trailer kind of sold me more than people just posting it. Just seeing a tweet about it or something like that. But yeah, that's pretty much. Yeah, besides everything else, like the Barland and Wonderland, I think that's it. The Sega game. That one I'm definitely going to be looking forward to playing and stuff. And it's coming out for all the consoles and stuff. But seeing it on Switch, just be like, I didn't even make the connection that they showed it on the PlayStation 5 showcase the day before they showed it again in the Direct. I'm like, oh wow. And then Microsoft announced their collection, that the same game, like on their Twitter page. I'm like, oh, so it's coming out for everything. That's cool. But other than that, yeah, I totally enjoyed it. Those are the ones I'm really looking forward to. Rise and My Son of Stories 2 and Ori 2. I'm definitely looking forward for.
Yeah, I was gonna get Ori 2, but I'm like, well, I haven't finished Ori 1, so I should probably do that before I buy the sequel. Even though Will o' the Wisps looks really, really great.
Yeah.
What do you
and
think?
Hades.
Yeah.
What do you think of the speculation about Ori being a Smash Brothers fighter?
That'd be awesome. I think that would be really neat because, like, we have Banjo, right, which technically Nintendo character until Microsoft purchased Rare, but like, I think with the partnership that Microsoft has shown with Nintendo, right, like just being really supportive and putting some games on there and showing support for games on there and giving them Banjo, like, I think Ori would actually be a great addition because, you know, it's like the barrier's down, right? Like American characters are now in, Western characters are now in. So you're not going to give them Master Chief. You're not going to give them Marcus Phoenix. That's a lot of mature content for a kids fighting game. But I think Ori would fit really well with that cast of characters. He's got the moves, right? Like Ori's got some really unique moves. He's got some ability to like jump around, probably similar to Pikachu, I'm guessing. Like, I feel like Ori would be an awesome Smash character.
It's so funny that you mentioned it because now I can think his Smash is from how he regularly attacks in the one where he got all the electricity stuff coming out. I could see that being his Smash, or him get into a character freezing it where he needs to do the arrow so he can pinpoint them and just smash them out that way too. Because I think his attack style will come from 2 and his specials will come from 1. Or I played that game too many times.
Dan, you weren't buying it. What? You didn't think that would be a good port over Smash Brothers?
I just, you know, any Smash speculation, I just don't put any stock into. We have no idea what Sakurai is doing.
I hope the last fighter Sakurai puts in is himself, and then he's like, "I'm retiring. This is my swan song. I'm done. I'm the last fighter."
The crazy thing is there'll be somebody who will master him, and we would just watch all day long. Sakurai just beating flaming folks. That's himself.
I think we're getting. I think with you know, this lineup we're going to talk about, there's a lot of new games coming out, and I think we're going to get a Zelda character coming next for Age of Calamity. But again, nobody knows. It's just my speculation. I think Zelda could use a little bit better representation. And I think, you know, with Breath of the Wild 2 and this game, we could see a new Zelda character coming out. So that's just my guess.
What Zelda character?
I have no idea.
I'm the champions, just like the Pokemon trainer where you can switch between Pokemon. I think that would be an easy way to include all 4 champions, but only add 1 character.
Yeah.
I said the female, the big
Urbosa.
Yeah.
Urbosa would be an awesome character.
Yeah.
Seeing in that Asian Calamity trailer when it slowed down, when she dipped off and she was just attacking, I'm like, oh, she's straight Smash material.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I would think it's gonna be Urbosa. I like your theory, David. Like, I think that would be awesome, but my guess would probably be Urbosa.
Yeah,
I would just also jump in and say that I could see the Blights being a character, and also in that format where you could switch between Blights as well. I think that would be pretty interesting.
Yeah, that would be cool.
It would be cool. I just don't think they are popular enough, the Blights, you know.
I feel like
Imagine
if they
the
added
reaction
like
to Blights versus Urbosa.
I feel like it'd be cool if they added them as like if there was like story DLC to Smash, like that would be a cool boss battle in Smash too.
That'd be awesome.
And you never know which one you're gonna fight, like when you get to that part.
That'd be cool.
Yeah. Man, there's so many characters that I would love to see in Smash, like third party characters. Ori was not one I thought of, and now that I want Ori now.
Yeah,
like
you
I was
guys
thinking,
sold me a little bit on Ori.
Yeah, like for me, the two big ones right now would be like Dante and Sora, like Dante from DMC and Sora from Kingdom Hearts. I don't know how that would work with Disney and everything, but obviously couldn't use the Mickey head Keyblade. But there's enough Keyblades in that game that you could probably find one that would work fine.
I think we probably need another Malay character because I know a lot of people are tired of sword fighters and stuff. So I think we need a Malay character.
I think we need 10 more Fire Emblem characters.
Oh, no.
I actually genuinely want to see just like all the Mario cast come out. Like, let's just put Birdo in there, Captain Toad, Waluigi. Just get them all in.
Yeah, where is Birdo? That would be such an easy thing. It's basically just Yoshi, like a Yoshi Echo character. Like,
yeah,
like why not? I don't know.
Can I get King Wart?
No.
Oh, yeah, sure. Please. How about Gino?
Oh, wow. That would be a throwback.
Gino would be a good one. There's a lot of people out there wanting Gino, so maybe, I mean, Nintendo's pretty tone deaf, but maybe they're seeing all the Gino hype.
Not to bring it back to Zelda, but a Guardian Brawl character would be pretty cool too, rather than a sword play.
Yeah, that'd
good
be cool.
call.
Yeah. Man, this is why we have you on the show. Talk about Zelda.
I was going to bring it back to Zelda.
I
didn't say it, but Age of Calamity is obviously my number one game that I've already pre-ordered and I'm excited for on that list, but I thought I'd go somewhere different than Zelda.
Yeah, I've already pre-ordered it digitally and physically because like I like to keep my physical games sealed now, and like, but anyways, so our kind of our main topic this week is Nintendo's next 6 months. So it's kind of starting in October. We're kind of through November already, but we had a few major releases in September. And Ori, Hades, Mario 3D All Stars was the big one, and for me, Roller Coaster Tycoon 3 next week is a pretty big deal. Although, man,
actually, this Thursday.
Yeah, I know. So, kind of starting in October, we have the Super Mario Brothers 35, which is the 35-player kind of battle royale Mario game. It looks so weird.
I am so excited for this. You have no idea.
Yeah, why? I'm interested to see people. Why are you excited for this? Like this, to me, a lot of people are looking at this like it's their Tetris 99. Right, like I love.
Yeah, kind of. I mean, I love Tetris 99. I love the aspect of it, and I love Mario games. And we were all talking about Mario Maker before we started recording. I've played so many enemy spam levels that I could do it with my eyes closed. So I'm very excited to throw shells at people and try to win this. So that was very exciting for me. I'm pumped.
Yeah. I will give it a go. I am not the greatest Mario player, but I will give it a go. I want to see Ed and Daniel face off in this game.
Oh yes, I cannot wait. I love Mario games, and I think I'm ready. I think I could come number one in this. I can't do the Tetris. I keep getting my tail kicked at around 40 to 35, but Mario, yeah, I think I could come out as number one.
Get good at it. Get good at Tetris.
I think it represents to like what people love about Nintendo. Just something completely quirky and out of nowhere. 35, players at once. Just wacky, fun multiplayer games. That to me at least is why I've always loved Nintendo and feel loyal. Is you just get these experiences with them that you don't get with other companies.
Yeah. Yeah, it's I mean, I didn't see this coming at all. Like, you always try to predict like what's the weirdest thing Nintendo could do, and they just totally take a left turn and do something even crazier. Like NES Remix on Wii U. Like, nobody ever expected something like that, right? Like, it's just crazy. I want to see I just want to watch this and see what happens. I want all 35 screens on my screen at one time and just watch them all and see what happens. It's just chaos. So the rest of October's lineup is actually pretty full too. Ys Origin, the action RPG series, is coming to Switch. They're releasing this one in preparation for Ys 9, which comes out next year. 8 is actually already on the Switch, so if you want to check it out, it's frequently on sale as well.
That's the one I need to get.
Oh man, I love that game.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was my first Ys game, and just so worth it. It's like you said, it's on sale all the time. Yeah. Just grab it.
Is it bad that my first Ys is actually on the TurboGrafx 16?
Yeah, because you're old.
Hey! It is true.
I'm just kidding.
This show's gonna feel like it is old.
Is 8 really worth getting though? Because I've almost pulled the trigger on it a few times, and I really like action RPGs.
Just get it on sale. You spent money on Roller Coaster Tycoon. That really didn't do it for you. This one will be better. I can guarantee that.
Can I trade Roller Coaster Tycoon Adventures in for this game?
GameStop will give you $275 for it. It's a start.
That's a lot, actually. Might want to take that deal. FIFA 21 Legacy Edition. If you haven't purchased FIFA already, well, here you go. I do have FIFA 20 on Switch. It's very good, but it's also the game that came out 2 years ago with an updated roster. So
yes,
I love FIFA though. Like I don't pay attention to soccer really at all, right? But I love playing FIFA, and I'm like, well, I need a FIFA game on Switch. I don't care how old it gets. It's just gonna live here. So
I keep all my sports games on PlayStation because my friends that I play Madden and FIFA and stuff all have PlayStation. So I'll pass on the Switch one, but I love FIFA.
Yeah.
Although from Strikers.
Yeah.
Gonna sell some Switches.
Nope, Strikers won't, but Sluggers will.
Sluggers will.
Yeah. Ed, we're just joshing you, man.
I'm not mad. I'm just preaching my truth. That's all I know.
G.I. Joe Operation Blackout looks hilariously bad, and I am all in for it.
Exactly. I literally just want to get this game to see how bad it is to be like, this game is so bad, it's so good, and you should buy it.
Yeah. Mario Kart Live Home Circuit comes out on the 16th. Looks...
I will be getting that.
Yes, I want to get it so bad, but I have a 2-year-old, and she's just going to chuck that car across the room, and I'm going to be like, that was just $100. Although I do have a shelf behind me that I can just sit the car there, and when she goes to bed, I can just sit in my office and just race this little Mario Kart around by myself. Just like, oh my god.
I'm so excited to see what Nintendo does with this and to see if it's successful because, I got 2 kids. They already just told me, they're like, Dad, we're getting this. It's not even up for debate. But man, if it's successful and they expand it or bring in other cars or, there's so many ways they could go with that. I'm so excited. And again, it's like what Nintendo does, right? Thinking outside the box.
This is definitely 2020's Labo for sure. But like,
go ahead.
Better. It seems better to me. Although the Labo was an interesting experiment, this looks more like this is Nintendo's. Also, I spelled circuit wrong in the show notes, so I'm going to fix it, even though nobody listening or watching is going to find out.
Oh, I just see you right doing it live. There you go. I think this is a good birthday gift, good Christmas gift, Hanukkah gift. If you want to buy it now when it comes out, I think that's awesome. I think this has a lot of potential doing it. And like setting up your own courses or, designing courses around the house, it's going to be really cool. Like definitely if, you can't really get like a Hot Wheels kind of set or anything. Mm-hmm. This is a good replacement for that, or substitute, I should say, for that.
Yeah. I'll probably get it at some point. I just want the Mario Kart sitting on my shelf, to be honest with you. And they look better quality than the those little $10 GameStop ones that probably don't even work when you take them out of the box. And then rounding out October's lineup is Pikmin 3 Deluxe.
Need that.
Great Wii U game. One of the prettiest Wii U games, I would say. Ed and I always talk about how good the fruit looks in that game. And so if you haven't played Pikmin 3, I do highly recommend it. It's not my favorite Pikmin game, but it is a great one for sure. So I will.
That'll be my first Pikmin game.
Ooh, well, you're in for a treat. Let me tell you.
Nice.
I still think Pikmin 1 is the best, but that's just me. Also, I played it on the GameCube and I beat it in one sitting, so it's also my Pikmin story for that. November, Jurassic World Evolution, the park building simulator, looks like it's coming to Switch on November 3rd. Fuser, the music mixing game, looks pretty neat. Kind of looks like that. There's a music card game that Harmonix came out with like a year ago at this point, and this looks like to be the digital version of that. So, kind of excited for that. A lot of people are saying good things about it. The GameCube Classic 13 is getting a remake. Sure. Kingdom Hearts Melody of Memories. We're getting a Kingdom Hearts game on Switch, guys. Yay. Nope. Okay. Chris Tales is coming out on the 17th, which is a indie RPG. Looks like a really solid RPG. It looks almost like in the vein of like a Valkyrie Profile almost. So where like your face buttons are your different characters, and also, I don't know if you guys played the indie game Fallen Legion. It kind of looks like that too, but with a cooler art style. So,
yeah, it does have a demo out.
Yeah, it does. It has a demo. You can play it now. So, and then rounding out November is the game that I am most anticipating is Hyrule Warriors: Age of Calamity.
Yep. So I'll play Cyberpunk until that game comes out, and then I'll put Cyberpunk to the side and work on Age of Calamity. Please, Nintendo and Koei Tecmo, have some good butt rock music in here, because I need that for a game like this.
David, you write for a Zelda site. Please tell me how you feel about this game.
Oh my God. I mean, there's so many firsts for this game. I mean, it's the first time we're getting a trilogy in any, Zelda string of games, with Breath of the Wild 2 coming out. The fact that it takes the best of Hyrule Warriors, a game I love and I've sunk hundreds of hours into and still haven't gotten to the end of, and actually makes it canon for the story. I think people are really excited about that. And the third thing that the box that it checks for a lot of fans is just that it has the potential to be the darkest Zelda game yet.
Mm-hmm. Because we know where it ends, right?
Right.
Right.
And I think they have the fact that the Zelda team, the writing team, is working closely with the development of this game, I think promises that they're gonna do it right, mm-hmm. which is really exciting. So I cannot wait. Like when I saw that announced, I got up getting ready for work and saw that pop up on my screen. My jaw just dropped.
I know, Ed, didn't you texted me in our Facebook chat? You're like, Hyrule Warriors 2. I'm like, oh my gosh, no way. And I looked at it, I'm like, wow, this is. I thought Hyrule Warriors was okay. Like I played it because it's a Zelda game, and I liked playing as the different characters. Honestly, like I think that's something that Zelda is sorely lacking. Is other playable characters. Like I keep telling Ed, I think Zelda is going to be a playable character, and Breath of the Wild is going to have some sort of weird party system where like you can switch between Link and Zelda to solve puzzles, and maybe Zelda's more of a ranged character, has different attacks, whatever. But like this excites me because I want to see more of the champions. I want to see more of Zelda being, before all of this, and like I said before, we know where it ends, right? Like spoilers, but they lose. This is like the Rogue One of Zelda, of Breath of the Wild, pretty much.
Love that.
So
And we're all ready to have our heart broken by the little egg guardian when that goes. So
yeah. Yeah, maybe we'll get to visit a Korok village, and then we find out where all those Korok people go.
oh my god.
Oh, please don't be 900 Korok seeds in this game. I can't do it again.
No, Anakin at the Jedi Temple with all the kids, right?
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah. Oh man. So I'm really excited. Daniel, do you have anything else to say about Hyrule Warriors?
No, you guys covered it. I'm just super excited to actually play the Calamity War.
Yeah,
I am just so hyped. I'm so hyped to see to play as the champions, see what actually happened to them, and I'm mentally preparing myself.
Yeah. All I gotta say is I want a poster of the cover art.
yeah.
Like
That
the
cover art
art
is
is
Oh,
amazing.
that's so good.
Oh, it's just beautiful.
Yeah, I would actually like if I had a series of posters, like Breath of the Wild would be one of them. I would consider taking that down and put this one up because it looks so cool. All right, so what are we at? December is Immortals Phoenix Rising from Ubisoft. Looks
I'm buying it.
okay. By the way, they posted an hour of Switch footage somewhere, and I was like, that is not a Switch game. It's that frame rate is too high, and those graphics are too pretty to be running an open world Ubisoft game on a Nintendo Switch. This game, I'm excited for this game, but I'm going to wait on it because it is a new IP from Ubisoft, and the first run of the game usually is pretty mediocre, and all their games go on sale literally 3 weeks after they come out. So, I don't know.
I would say I was going to pick it up and report on it.
Yeah.
So.
It has a lot of Breath of the Wild vibes, right? Like, I think the first time we saw it, a lot of people really got that vibe from it. But are you guys interested in this at all? Previously Gods and Monsters, by the way, everybody who's listening. Which is a way cooler name.
I might, once it comes closer, I might look into it a little more, but as of now, I feel like, no, not yet.
Yeah.
My backlog of games is just so big right now. I agree that the comparison to Breath of the Wild is kind of interesting. That makes me curious. But with Cadence of Hyrule having the new storyline coming out soon as well, like it's going to be hard to fit it all in.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I get it. That's why I'm kind of waiting. Like, I love seeing third parties support the Switch like this with a big, massive open world game. It's the Assassin's Creed Odyssey team making this new kind of open world thing, but like, there's so many games coming out this fall, not only on Switch, but like the other new consoles, old consoles. Like, I'm gonna be honest with you guys. I'm probably gonna be playing a lot of Destiny this fall too. This game is getting bumped for sure, sadly. But one game that's not getting bumped for me is Puyo Puyo Tetris 2, even though it's literally just more Puyo Puyo Tetris.
Oh, but it's so much more.
It is. It's got double the Puyo Puyos, double the
We get an
Tetris.
overworld map. We get skill challenges. I am so ready for this game.
Man, I love Tetris so much.
Corey said, "I'm not getting this game." I'm like, "Yes, you are." He's just like, "Yeah, I am."
Yeah,
So,
I know.
yeah.
That's exactly how it went. So,
I mean, the original Puyo Puyo sold like crazy. Like,
yeah,
it sold enough for them to port it.
the physical copy was actually extremely hard to find for a while.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I put a lot of time into Puyo Puyo Tetris, but just the Tetris. No Puyo Puyo. I wish they would just make like a $10 downloadable Tetris game for me to play. It would be just perfect.
Well, you can do that with the Tetris 99 purchased copy.
I guess you can, can't you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Play the old school Tetris.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then lastly, in December, they're putting out the Collection of Saga games, which is just the
Yes.
Final Fantasy Legend games for Game Boy. Ed's the only one excited for that, I guess. Good job, Ed.
I've never got a chance to play them, so this is my time to play them. I can't wait.
Okay, I'll let you experience them on your own.
I've played them.
Yeah, they exist on the Game Boy.
Yeah, they're games.
Yeah.
Ed, what's your 30-second sales pitch on that? Talk to me.
So my 30-second sales pitch on it is that a lot of people who are into the Final Fantasy games definitely have to watch your Final Fantasy 16. This is a good way to play some of their side games that came out for the early Nintendo systems. So if you are hyped for Final Fantasy 16 and a big fan of the Final Fantasy games, this would be one for you guys to check out, especially if you love Game Boy games and you didn't try it. Give this one a go.
Final Fantasy 16 looks fantastic, by the way.
It looked amazing.
Final
Fantasy 15 was a little bit of a disappointment in my eyes, and I feel like this one is going to bring me back.
Yeah, it's giving me 9 and 12 vibes, which are kind of my two, I guess you would say, modern favorites. Yeah, it looks. Oh, and that combat looks just awesome.
Looks fun.
Yeah. So undated games for Switch listed for 2020. Who knows if they'll make it out? It is only September, so we'll see. We've been talking so much about the PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X coming out in November that to me it's like the end of October, and I'm gonna go get these boxes next week. But it's still September. Axiom Verge 2 is a must buy for me.
Yeah.
If you are into Metroid at all, this is Metroid without the name. So, did you guys play Axiom Verge 1?
No.
Oh man, if you like the original NES Metroid, this is the game for you.
All right.
It's only about 5 to 6 hours long. The graphics are just pure NES nostalgia. The music is the best part of the game, honestly.
Great 8-bit sounding music, yeah.
Yeah, and they fixed some of the weapon, like the way you choose your weapon in the Switch version, from the PS4 version had a weapon wheel that you could choose from, whereas the Switch version you can actually just switch weapons on the fly with the D-pad, I want to say, or whatever they call that thing. It's just a fantastic game, and Axiom Verge 2 is a must buy for me. It's so good. So Baldo, which is the Zelda-like, it kind of looks like a Studio Ghibli Zelda game, honestly.
Yeah. This is a must-have. At the moment I seen the trailer, I'm like, oh yeah, this is on my Switch.
Yeah,
when it drops.
I'm with you, Ed.
Yeah, it looks
yeah.
cool. Plus, there's a dog companion, and that always is just I mean, anytime you say you have a dog companion, it piques my interest. Literally, the only reason why I bought Fallout was because they're like, "Oh, you can have a dog companion." I'm like, "Oh, okay." I don't like Fallout that much, but I had a dog companion. So, also, a lot of the reason why Breath of the Wild might be one of my favorite games ever is because I had the stupid Wolf Link amiibo and I just spammed that thing.
Better be able to use that on the next ones.
I know, right? If I can't use Wolf Link, I'm like, man, this is already not as good as Breath of the Wild. I don't care if it's the greatest game of all time. Can't use Wolf Link amiibo. Down a peg.
They're going to let us use them, and we're going to be able to pet them. That's going to do it.
Now, can we ride the Wolf Link amiibo like you can in Monster Hunter Rise trailer? That's what I want to know.
Please do.
That would be kind of cool, actually, if you could do that. Boyfriend Dungeon is another one. Ed, I don't even remember what this game was. I only put this on here because I knew you were excited for it. Literally, the only reason why I put this on here is because of you.
You find a sword who is actually a boyfriend, who is actually a man. You go to dungeons and explore and fight. It's kind of almost like Zelda and a roguelike put together, and you find different stuff on this vacation spot. It's a really fun looking game, and when I seen it, I'm like, oh yeah, this is for me.
Yeah. So only put it on here for you, buddy. So Bravely Default 2 looks great.
I'm very excited for this game.
Yeah, it looks it like the first time they showed it, I was like, man, this looks rough. But then the second time they showed it, and everything looked way cleaner and way nicer and everything. I'm like, man, this game's gonna be a good one.
The battle system's fantastic. I played the demo. Yeah, I mean, I've always been a huge RPG fan. I loved all the Final Fantasy games and stuff like that. And I still just love turn-based games. Octopath is one of my favorite games on the Switch. So, I've really been waiting for this game for a while.
Yeah. Doom Eternal, it says it's almost ready and we're going to get news soon. I think, cool. It's coming to the Switch. I will probably bite the bullet for most of you, so, you guys can...
In other words, I'll be buying it again.
Look, I played Doom and Wolfenstein 2 on the Switch, and they were just fine playing those games on the Switch. Okay, I know I didn't play the optimal version of the game, but I don't know. I feel like this is a bad time to say, hey, you can pay $60 for this game, or you can sign up for Game Pass and play it for free next week. So, it's just me though. Genshin Impact, which is that clear Zelda Breath of the Wild ripoff kind of game, is coming. There's 30 playable characters in this game, I guess, that you can purchase. This game's really weird. The monetization for this game is really, really weird. It's $60. There's 30 playable characters. You can buy costumes for your little anime ladies to shoot bows and arrows with. It's weird, but it looks just like Breath of the Wild, so it has me interested.
I'm gonna wait for the PS4 reviews to come out.
Yeah,
for it.
I've heard it's like a MMORPG light, but I don't know what that means.
Yeah, I don't really know what that means
either. It's close to being like an MMO, from like War of Warcraft, but it doesn't have like the keys and stuff that you use and all the magic and stuff. It's just a little bit light. And that, think of Final Fantasy 12 if you can. In a sense, it's kind of like that, but you're actually controlling the character doing the actions. So.
Yeah,
But would you be online with other players as well?
No,
no.
It's all single player.
I think there is some multiplayer elements to it. There's some multiplayer. There's something multiplayer in this game. I don't know how it works, but it's there.
Okay.
So
like Xenoblade Chronicles, the combat is a lot like MMO.
Yeah. This is.
But would that be considered an MMO light? Just because of the combat?
I think the combat is like an MMO, but I mean.
Yeah, because Genshin Impact is button, where Xenoblade is like automatic with some button presses here. Yeah. So that's the difference between them.
I think Genshin Impact's combat is a lot like Breath of the Wild's. Honestly, it's you're actually like pulling the bow back to shoot people and everything. It's not like a traditional RPG where you're like, kind of lining up moves and hoping things happen. All right, we're just going to kind of move through this list again, and if somebody has something to say about one of these games, obviously just shout it out, because I know there are a few on here that people are excited for. Grindstone, the iOS hit from Apple Arcade, is finally coming to Switch. Hear a lot of good things about it. Hollow Knight Silksong is still slated for this year. I know a lot of people have a lot of affinity for Hollow Knight.
Yeah, I played that first, and I on the Switch, and I really enjoyed that. And honestly, Hollow Knight was one of those characters too that I was wondering with this game coming out might make a surprise appearance on Smash Brothers too.
Look, there are no indie characters allowed until Shovel Knight gets there. It's my rule. I refuse.
Wow.
I don't care if he's an assist trophy. He better be there. That's man. I what's that indie brawler game that's kind of like Smash? What's it called?
Brawlhalla?
No, not the other one. Where like Hyper Light Drifter guy is in it and Ukulele's in it, and
it starts with an A, right?
I don't remember, but Shovel Knight's in that game, so anyways, moving along. Harvest Moon, One World. Ed, aren't you interested in Harvest Moon? You like Harvest Moon, right?
Yeah, I'll buy it.
New Pokemon Snap is still slated for this year. I keep forgetting that a new Pokemon Snap game is coming out.
That is true.
And the internet lets me know it when I say I forget a new Pokemon Snap game is coming out. I don't know. The first one was fine. Like, I don't understand why people love this game so much. It was fine. I mean,
I'll get
remember
it for the experience.
I mean, I remember throwing apples at Pikachu's face and thinking it was hilarious, but like, I don't know. Do you guys? I mean, are you guys interested in a new Pokemon Snap?
I feel the same exact way you do.
Yeah,
it's kind of just there.
Yeah. I don't know. It's Pokemon Snap's weird. I'm just gonna throw it out there. It's weird. Pokemon Snap's weird. You're in this little tank. You throw fruit at Pokemon and you take pictures of them. I don't know what else to say. It's weird. And I just remember the guy from the N64 game had like this weird like mop bowl cut thing going on, and it's just kind of like, what? You have some of the best artists in the world working on the most popular property in the 90s. Like, you couldn't have given this guy a better haircut. Like, it's just, I don't understand. And sometimes you would get the Pokemon perfect in frame, and it'd be like, oh, that picture's okay. And then you would take one of like Lapras's butt, and you'd be like, oh, that picture's great, 1,000 points. And then you're like, what? I literally dropped the controller and I took this picture. I don't get it. So
before you go on, the Indie Fighter is Bounty Battle. That's what you're thinking of, right?
No, that's not it either.
No?
No.
Mm-mm. It starts with an A.
No, it doesn't. I think it's just called. I'm gonna have to.
I sort of got Bounty Battle's the one where you have the Indie Fighters.
I have to look this up now. It's bothering me.
I was like thinking about it. I was like, oh, it just came to me. That's not it.
No, now I gotta look it up. Brawl Out. I knew it had the word brawl in it.
Brawl Out?
Yeah. It's got like this weird ninja frog on the front of it, and like there's all these like fake animals, but then they have like Guacamole guy and Hyperlight Drifter guy, and yeah, that's it.
Gotcha.
That's it. Yep. And it's got like this monkey with a flat top, and it's like, that's okay. Yeah, that's it. Brawl Out. Oh, man, that was gonna bother me forever. We're getting a lot of Oddworld coming to Switch too. New and tasty, I hear, is pretty good. Munch's Odyssey was not good. Pokemon
passing on those.
Pokemon Sword and Shield, the Frozen Tundra DLC is coming, which I think a lot of people are excited for. Either of you play Sword and Shield at all?
Yeah, I have Sword, and I got like a decent way through it. My kids love that though. They just played the heck out of that. So I'd definitely be buying the DLC for sure.
Yeah, I've Pokemon lost me after Gold and Silver. It's a series that I want to love again at some point, but there's just too many of them now, and it's like, I don't know. One of them's a chandelier. One of them's literally a bag of garbage. One of them's an ice cream cone. Like, I don't know. That's why I liked Let's Go so much. I was like, man, this is just a nice kind of stroll through Red and Blue. You know, I can just kind of wiggle my Joy-Con and catch something and just kind of walk around. I don't know. I've almost pulled the trigger on Sword and Shield so many times, and it just never happened.
Sword and Shield was my first Pokemon game since Red. I hadn't played any of them in between, and I played it all the way through, but it started to feel like a chore kind of halfway through. I don't know. Maybe it just isn't for me, but it was fine.
I have the collection that they did for Sword and Shield. So I have that. And I've been playing ever since Blue.
Yeah.
Nice. It was just too easy. I wish there was a way to make it a little more challenging, and I think I would have liked it a lot more. Like I'm playing a game called Nexomon. It's an indie game.
Yeah.
That's kind of like Pokemon, but it's very difficult, and the writing is good, and I've been having a blast playing that.
I have it on my Switch. I haven't started yet, so it's good to hear.
Yeah.
It's really good. It's a blast, and it's a good challenge, you know.
Yeah, that I think a lot of people are looking, like older Pokemon fans are looking for a more challenging Pokemon, and I feel like that from what I've heard, that game is that. So
yeah, and I think I would like it a lot more if you could set it to like a hard difficulty and make it a challenge to play versus, you know, everything's very easy in the game.
yeah. Plus, like once you learn what elements are good against what, it's kind of like, oh well, okay, well I'm taking my Pikachu in against these water type Pokemon, and I'm taking my Charmander into this tree forest. So it's I get it, but I mean, like I said, it's kid. David, you said that your kids love it, and it's kids' first RPG, and like kids will love it because like that. I remember the thrill of my Pokemon was probably my first real RPG, honestly, and I loved it when I played it at the time. But now I'm just like, well, I would rather play some other things. So I don't know.
Yeah. I agree with what you said, Dan, too, but just about that's where I kind of got lost in the middle. Was just like it became so formulaic, and like you were saying, Corey, I kind of figured out what the rules were basically, and after that, it felt like a chore. But for kids, you know, I feel like Nintendo does such a good job of having some sort of gameplay available for every age of gamer, and so you develop these lifelong, you know, Nintendo fans as a result. And I know that's going to be true for my kids as well, just because, you know, they're starting out on Pokemon, and you know my daughter's gotten into the Zelda series, so you know that's Nintendo's way, I guess.
Yeah. And then the last few games here, Scott Pilgrim is being re-released. I know a lot of people are excited for that. Sniper Elite 4, Super Meat Boy Forever, and Torchlight 3 are all listed for 2020 as well. Super Meat Boy Forever interests me. I know it's kind of like a runner version of Super Meat Boy, but I think as much as people are kind of like down on that idea, I think that actually works really well for Super Meat Boy. Just kind of like the instant runner type thing, you know. So Super Meat Boy is one of the best games. I feel like it's so good. I love Super Meat Boy so much. And I actually didn't even play it until it came to Switch, because I was like, oh, well, everybody just says it's hard, and I'm like, I don't need that. But yeah,
I wish I had to ask you. I think you answered it, Corey. Did you choose N++ or Super Meat Boy?
Oh no, don't give me that.
N++ is so good.
I know N++ is so good. If you guys haven't played N++, it's like this extremely difficult platformer where there's like a maze that I think N++ has over 1,100 levels, and they're just small bite-sized levels. If you don't try to collect all the gold coins, right, they take probably less than 10 seconds to beat if you know what you're doing, each level. But if you try to collect all the gold coins, that's where the challenge comes in, and you get special perks if you collect all the gold coins in each level. And then like it's just N++, it's so fun and addicting that I have to recommend it to everybody who likes platformers. I have to. But that said, Super Meat Boy is also very good. So N++ I think is only like $15 though. It's for 1,100 levels, and they added the whole original N+ game in there as well. And I actually think the original Flash version of the game, just called N, is in there now too. I think there's probably like close to 1,500 levels in that game now. Plus it has a level editor. Plus there's multiplayer in it too. So, man, N++ so good. Ed, why did you have to do that? Oh. Man, N++ so good. Please buy it, everybody. I want a third one. I want N+++. So, all right, we're going to kind of move into 2021 now. That list is not nearly as long. Obviously, Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury is coming out in February. Monster Hunter Rise is in March, so that Nintendo beginning of the year is actually pretty full of great games, I feel like.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, Prince of Persia Sands of Time remake is still up in the air because it's coming out on the other consoles in January. And some reports say that it's coming to Switch. Some say that it's not. Some say it's coming later. We don't know. But that game looks questionable. I don't know if you watched the trailer to Prince of Persia. That game looks so questionable. Like, as much as I love that original trilogy of Prince of Persia games, it's just like, this is your remake of one of the best, platformers of that era. This is what you're doing to it. It's just, man. So, yeah, I mean, I'm sure a lot of people are interested in Mario 3D World, right? Like, especially if you skip the Wii U, like, to me, that game's a no-brainer. So some of the other games for 2021: Alex Kidd in the Miracle World DX, Bear and Breakfast, which looks really interesting. Braid Anniversary Edition, Disgaea 6 is coming. Lego Star Wars Skywalker Saga, Monster Hunter Stories 2, No More Heroes, Rune Factory 5, Shin Megami Tensei 5, Skatebirds, both Subnautica games, Vampire the Masquerade Swansong, and Ys 9. Monstrum Nox is also coming. So there's a pretty full lineup right there for 2021, and that's not including what we think the Zelda 35th anniversary stuff is going to be, or the Metroid stuff.
Right.
I don't know, man. People are saying Nintendo's lineup has been pretty weak, but I think it's pretty strong to be. I mean, is it 2017 Nintendo? No, but it's definitely has a monster beginning of the year. So no pun intended with Monster Hunter.
2020 hasn't even been all that bad either, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean.
Yeah.
The way Animal Crossing has sold, honestly, has allowed Nintendo, I think, to adjust their plans during COVID to, like, because I think they said they delayed this Mario 35th anniversary stuff by 6 months. And I think Animal Crossing really allowed them to do that in a more natural way than they had planned.
Right. Yeah, I mean, you get Xenoblade that came out in May. You have Paper Mario that came out in July.
Right.
This Mario game. We got Age of Calamity.
Yeah.
You got Clubhouse games that surprisingly did well. Like,
I love Clubhouse games. I still play it. It's one of the few things my girlfriend will play with me.
And you forget, like, little, like, smaller stuff like Good Job.
Oh yeah,
that game.
Good
that
Job
game
is a good one.
Yeah, that game's awesome. And Pikmin 3 is coming, so I think Nintendo's got a pretty solid 2020 heading into 2021. So I don't. Are there any titles next year that you guys are looking forward to? I mean, I know 2020 is not over, and Age of Calamity is just going to take up a lot of our time, I feel like, at this point.
I know Rune Factory 5 for me, Skatebird. It's going to be one to be looking out, definitely. And Ys 9.
Yeah.
I can't wait.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm really excited for the Cadence of Hyrule DLC for Skull Kid. And that was always one of my favorite sort of side characters in the Zeldaverse growing up. And to get to have a whole adventure centered on Skull Kid, I think it's going to be pretty awesome.
Yeah.
I'm ready for the physical copy of Cadence of Hyrule.
Yes.
Yeah. So in Cadence of Hyrule, there's a mode in there where you don't have to do the rhythm stuff, right?
Yes, there is, and it's great. I always play with the rhythm on just because I have this thing about trying to play games the way they're intended. But like my kids love Zelda, but could not do the rhythm thing. You could turn it off, and it's pretty easy without it.
Because like that was like the one thing that I was like, man, I hear the music is amazing in this game, and I want to try it out, but like I just haven't It's another one of those games that's sitting on my wish list. It's like someday I'll just bite the bullet and do it.
It's really, I mean, I will say, as somebody who's not, shall we say, rhythmically inclined, it really wasn't that big of a deal. Like, I found, like, after maybe 10, 15 minutes of playing, you just start to not even think about it, and it becomes really easy to play.
Okay. Yeah, I might pull the trigger on that.
It's a short game. It's not going to take up too much time once you get, like David said, once you get the hang of it, it's pretty quick, and it's really fun. The puzzles are good. It's a fun game.
Maybe after this show, maybe I'll sit down and play it while I'm not sleeping.
Get the physical.
Dude, post about it if you do. I want to know.
All right, I will. I'll try. I'm gonna do it. Well, where's my Switch is in the other room. I was gonna just buy it right now. It's in the living room, hooked up to the TV because I was playing Mario 64 on my big TV, and it just felt like this is weird. So also confirmed, honestly, from Nintendo is Breath of the Wild 2, obviously, Metroid Prime 4, Bayonetta 3, and a Detective Pikachu sequel, which I also forgot was announced 2 years ago at this point. Right. I think it was announced when the movie was in production. You think there's a chance we see any of these games next year? I mean, I don't think Metroid Prime is on that list for next year, but
Bayonetta 3 probably yes. Breath of the Wild, I'm holding out. I think we'll see the trailer for if they do a 35th anniversary. I think they'll start it off with a trailer with that. Detective Pikachu, I think we'll probably see next year, summer, fall, or something like that.
I wouldn't be surprised if Detective Pikachu filled that role that that Pokemon Mystery Dungeon filled this year in January. Honestly.
Oh, you mean February?
Yeah, whenever. This year's been like 4 years long anyway.
Oh no, you're actually right. January, because 3D World comes out in February.
Thank you. Nailed it.
Corey, I think on the previous episode, you were talking about the 4K Switch and possibly launching Breath of the Wild 2 with that. And I think that's a really interesting idea. I can see that happening with Nintendo. I do think we're going to get Breath of the Wild 2 next year. So the question for me is when do they think is the best time to launch that?
Yeah, I was thinking about that because like they need that game that proves that you need to upgrade, right? And I think... Yeah, Breath of the Wild 2 will obviously run on the regular Switch because they're not going to cut off, 62 million units at this point.
Oh, no.
Right? But if you want the best looking version of the game, if you want, just this, like maybe like a 60 frames a second type Zelda experience with these great graphics and like all these, you can basically see the swirling, whatever flying around your face and the green kind of ghost hands like reaching through your TV. Like this, you have to get a 4K Switch. Like that's
it's such a struggle because yes, I agree. And then I was just like, but does Nintendo go with Breath of the Wild 2 or do they go with Odyssey 2 because it's a Mario title?
Well, I think
more in Mario.
I think they go with Zelda because I think Zelda is the more demanding game. Honestly, like Mario, I feel like. Don't get me wrong, Odyssey was a fantastic game, but I feel like Zelda was way more demanding, right? You could see the little hitches in that game. You could see, like, it only ran at 900p, whereas Mario Odyssey was 1080p, 60 frames, right? Like, Mario just was a better optimized version of a game. Granted, they had to get Zelda running on Wii U, cross-platform game, engine, porting the engine over to the Switch. Probably a lot of the reason that happened, but, like, Zelda, I feel like, is the showcase for older gamers like us who are into the tech and want to see better tech from our favorite games. And like, I just feel like the 4K Switch is primed for Zelda. Although I did throw around the idea that Monster Hunter does come out in March, and Monster Hunter would also be a killer game to launch with a 4K Switch. By the way, our question is from Will-O-Wisp on Twitter. The rumors of a 4K Switch, Nintendo Switch 2 or Pro or potential 4K support, what games on the Switch would you be most excited to play in 4K? Breath of the Wild 2 is definitely one of those. I think Metroid Prime 4 is another one that fits that bill, although I feel like that game is still a way away, and I think they want to get that new Switch out before that game comes out. I feel like if a 4K Switch comes out next year, you know how like at a console launch you see games that are like, okay, you can tell that this is next gen-ish, but still looks like it could probably run on the previous generation, whereas like 2 or 3 years in you see like, oh well, this is what they can do with this console. I feel like Breath of the Wild is that cross, quote unquote, cross gen, for lack of better words, game, and Metroid Prime 4 is like, this is what you can do on this tech game.
So for me, it would be these two games, Astral Chain 2, because I would see what Platinum would be able to do with more power, and
more graphics.
Witcher 3. Like, I would love to see what does Witcher 3 from old Switch do with the 4K version on Switch.
Yeah,
that would be interesting, literally, to see like how much it gets up res, less pop in, more detail in its colors and stuff. Even if it gets to like regular Xbox One levels, I would be interested in seeing that, to see what that 4K Switch Pro could do with The Witcher 3.
Yeah, I also think you want to launch it around a time when you're going to have, third-party support coming out. Like, that's why Monster Hunter, I think, is a big deal for Switch, and why I still think they'll probably talk about it at some point in February, honestly, and try to get it out before Monster Hunter, so Monster Hunter will run well on it. But also, I think that Breath of the Wild is so intrinsic to the Switch launch. To launch your next version of that console with another Zelda game, I think just makes sense in terms of what they're thinking,
Yeah.
I'm also just a little bit curious about what a Hyrule Warriors would look like in 4K, particularly with the way that game kind of reveals enemies in the distance and things like that. I'm curious what a souped up Switch could really do with that. So I would be curious if they would have another version of that game available, particularly Age of Calamity.
Yeah, I wonder if they would have like the ability to have like better draw distance, or you look at the I guess you would look at the 3DS version of Hyrule Warriors, and like, this is how it runs on a regular 3DS, which was crap, but this is what it runs on a new 3DS, which is okay. But then you watch it run on a Wii U or a Switch, and it's like, oh well, this is obviously how this game's supposed to run. So I wonder how long it's going to take us to run into that situation too, where like, I'm playing this game on a regular Switch, but this is what it's supposed to run like. So,
Digital Foundry, like I said, Digital Foundry will have a field day.
Yeah,
definitely. Dan, what about you? Did you?
I feel like I don't know what to expect with it, because I feel like a lot of the games that are coming out now are kind of ports and stuff that they've already announced a while back. So I feel like everything new, they've kind of kept quiet for this 4K Switch. It might have a good launch with it, because this is, rumored to be in March or April. So I'm keeping my expectations low, because usually when I let them go high, they they go down a bit. But man, I am excited to see Breath of the Wild in 4K. That's for sure. But I'm also very excited just to see what's going to come with this 4K launch, if it is even happening.
Yeah. I also wonder how they're going to get around the portable stuff too, because like I still think that whatever this new dock is that comes with it is going to have extra processing power in it.
I don't think it's going to be handheld if it's going to be 4K.
Really?
I think it's just going to be a console.
You think so?
Yeah, I do. They already have the Switch Lite. They have the Switch that's a hybrid. Now they're going to have their 4K console.
I mean, I would love that. Like, if I could just have the console plugged in, and then like, okay, I could just get a Switch Lite, and that would be my portable one, right? Like, I could.
So do they go to like this, like like the Wii U box, like how it had that small one where you just put the disc in, it didn't do anything like that. Because these are small cartridges.
Mm-hmm.
So
I wonder if it would just be like an Apple TV size box at that point.
Yeah, probably.
it is. And then like still have the ports for a micro SD card
Mhm.
or
Yeah, you just have like a little
USB.
flap that flips down like on the Wii U. It's just like that little small flap where you put the SD card in, and like there's maybe a couple USB slots in there to charge your controllers or whatever, and like there you go.
Yeah,
That'd be
and
interesting.
I think I don't think it could be anything else than that. I mean, you're not going to have a handheld screen that's going to have super high resolution and all this stuff. So I think they're just going straight console with this one.
Yeah.
But then what? But the Joy-Cons.
Nobody wants the Joy-Cons. That fad's over. Nobody's playing
They
1-2
suck.
Switch
Everybody's
anymore.
sending them back to get repaired.
Yeah.
I think
Wow.
we're looking at pro controllers.
Nobody's playing 1-2 Switch anymore except my nephews. So, which by the
I do
way,
use the Joy-Cons with Mario Galaxy though.
my nephews, by the way, they're 4 and 6, and they think 1-2 Switch is the best game ever made. So,
That's great.
yeah, I think it's just because I'm the only one in the family that has it, and they come over here, and that's the only game they want to play. They only play the samurai sword game where you have to catch the sword, and that's the only game they'll play, and they think it's hilarious when they hit each other with a fake sword. So I'm just, so yeah, that's actually it, guys. That's the show. We did it. We nailed it.
Hey,
Great.
It's over. We're done. We're retiring. 213 episodes in the bag. I want to thank everybody who was watching live on Twitch. We are live every Monday night here with Nintendo Power Block, and you can catch it on Wednesdays on your podcast service of choice and YouTube and our website and wherever you consume podcasts. I don't know where that's at anymore. It changes every day, I think. So, David, Daniel, thank you for joining us. This was fun. You guys should come on more often.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah,
thank you. It was great.
Yeah, you guys should definitely come on more often. Daniel, where can we find you?
At DCDM99 on Twitter.
Nice.
Yes.
Nice. And David, where can we find you?
At David Lasby on Twitter. So LASBY.
Cool. Also check him out on Zelda Dungeon and Zelda Informer. I'm very glad you guys got to join us tonight. It was a good time. I knew we were gonna hit some Age of Calamity stuff, so it's always fun. Ed, where can we find you?
You guys can find me on Twitter at ThatRetroCode. Check out Option Opinion on SoundCloud and other podcast apps.
Yeah, and you can find me at I am Corey HD on Twitter and Instagram. If you're watching live on Twitch, stay tuned. Where Josh, Finney, and I are actually going to talk about the Microsoft stuff that happened today. And if you're not, well, that's fine. You can find it on our YouTube page at some point, I think. So I want to thank everybody so much for watching. Thank you, Daniel. Thank you, David. Thank you, Ed, for joining me on Nintendo Power Block tonight. And until next week, we love you. Goodbye.
Bye, everybody. Woohoo!